those end game niche box fight moments, but it's control of the map, being able to play for Storm Surge, things that Verox, Michael, and Mexi are so good at doing outside from Dirty Dogs on this rotation. You have so many mountains you can exploit, so many mountains you can camp behind as well. They're doing it so well so far, landing tags, and I feel like these guys are going to have great six games today.
And if this is your first time watching competitive Storm Surge, it's going to be a huge factor for these trios. That is a huge kind of piece of the puzzle they have to solve. That's going to determine how they're going to rotate, how aggressive they're going to be in the middle game.
This Storm Surge is going to be large. Holy shoot.
Storm Surge tags are going to be quite nasty. It hits 25 HP for being the passive player, and that's why you're seeing this utility item of the sniper be such a prominent use in the FNCS competitive scene. Not only does it does massive damage, especially a headshot, but it allows you to go on through. Michael getting that tag right there allows Mexi and his trio mate to kind of rotate easy. Now we've got a nice look here at the new POI, Stealthy Stronghold. You gotta watch out, because not only it's a new one, but
reminds me of Dusty though. Dusty Divot. Yeah, I wasn't an OG, but it looks nice. I watched a lot of Laser Beam.
They're hunters in the POI still.
Oh yeah.
Heatsy, Snagged, and Steelix. These guys coming in 4th place off of yesterday. No wins either, so they're kind of reigning true to what, you know, Grease and Levin are always trying to preach, the analysts of the region, that consistency ends up winning games. You don't always need victory royales. I feel like, though, when coming out of round 4, wins do have to matter somewhat to stay in the top 10. We're actually getting updates from a lot of our top 10 teams from yesterday overall. That first game, Sancho, momentum means so much. If these guys make the right decisions, they have a good game number 1, it's going to be so much easier for them to control the map in the next few games.
Here is the control of the map that's breaking down right here on this rotation of Verox, Michael, and Mexi running into that Cammy split trio of Browner and that company right then and there. You're going to see a lot of rotations kind of colliding here as they're getting smushed by the safe zone. As you see already, the first zone has been revealed here. And this is the moment here you got to figure out. Taking early engagements is usually not a great idea. So right now, they're just kind of keeping pace, making sure they're keeping an eye on each other. And speaking of a hunter, we have some deadly trios about to be hunted down right now. Steelix is right now the eye of some danger of Eyedrop, Savage, and Tayson. And this is a trio you don't want to see. What are they doing way over here?
I have no clue, but honestly, camouflage in the jungle actually gets discovered. Now a pinch turns into a crazy messy box fight, and these guys are right in the middle of it.
Here we go. Heatsy now trying to get hold onto the stair. The stair's being held down tight for the moment. No spray tags going through. Now Heatsy and Snagging in a little bit of stalemate, and it's going to be a good old-fashioned storm fight. And this is actually a good place to fight in this storm here, considering that Stealthy Stronghold does have some fishing spots available if things do get drawn out. You don't want to expect it. Now we're going to have a little build-up here, and Tayson and Eyedrop.
Ooh, Mr. Savage.
You see Savage is already kind of put back on the back foot here for a second, having to retreat and heal up, and now he can be up to that 100 HP with no shield, but this is not good if you're Heatsy, Snagged, and Steelix, Shiloh. You don't want to see this trio in your POI.
It might actually be good for both trios, just depends on who wins overall. This is definitely a push for Surge. It's still first zone, so it's not that much damage overall to either trio. Savage did take a big hit, had that med kit to kind of snap back. Now, though, it looks like Eyedrop, Tayson, and Savage have their classic type of breakdown, chasing a team inside the storm, making sure they can't move without seeing the enemy first. Here's Savage kind of holding the floodgates before Heatsy can really drop out. Running low on mats as well, just 8 left. Looks like the tags are about to come through. Savage, Tayson, and Eyedrop should be confirming a few shots very soon. There's the first shotgun shot, does not land, but now Tayson's hot on their heels.
Tayson, of
But the
course,
points are
full aggressive, so is
but the
Savage.
points are way too many, honestly.
Looks like Stealing Heatsy are going to go ahead and drop down below.
30 points for victory.
Here goes, nice look at here. Agent Jonesy's, of course, set this all up, and we talked about the lore of Fortnite here, and it's going to be the moment of a little safe haven, a moment to breathe here. But you still have these deadly trio hunters knocking on that front door. We talked about Savage and Eyedrop. Their duo ship goes for a long way. But Tayson, it's been on a tear here in the EU region. Literally, Shio could go for a back-to-back FNCS championship. And that in itself is going to be a storyline that we're
going to be like at least 10 points for the victory royale.
Absolutely. We'll see exactly what happens in Stealthy Stronghold, who makes it out first. Obviously, Tayson has the control over there. On the other side of the map, all the way towards the center, there is a little bit of a battle at the Coliseum / some control for the desert. Might be some oil underneath the dunes we don't know about, but these guys are trying to get rich off those tags. This is Advice, Cubix, and Artor. No eliminations just yet. I think everything's planned for per usual. Sitting right outside the zone, people will have to past that as well. We were watching a bunch of different trios kind of rotate over from those Dirty Docks. Raze, Frey, and Arion are one of them. I would say a trio that's finally now finding some success playing with teammates. They're kind of a mishmash trio. Arion playing with many different players, Frey as well, back and forth. Now these guys are kind of combined into a trio, have a little bit of a wild card aspect to them in their gameplay. They're going to be rotating right beside, a trio that's nothing like a wild card whatsoever. Andalex, Lazy, and X Squeeze, the top contenders, and honestly, the ones who I would say are shooing for first place today. Two very different.
You guys have some surgery already. I think they have 2 limbs or something. One, sorry.
As you see here, Victor Royale is going to be 30 points. Second place is going to be 25 points. Third place will be 20 points. And the elim factor is going to be big. That is 2 points, double the amount than what all these competitors have played with. And now you're going to see a little bit of a traffic jam up ahead. It's multiple trios all converging on the same rotation. The Play Well trio now is turning and burning and stopping this mismatch team that you're talking about of Raze and Frey and Arion. And they're going to have to slow down here. And these are the kind of situations that you're going to have to navigate as much as possible. Right now we're seeing, look at the inventory, not that great. And this is what happens when you're not having a solid home or a power POI to work with. You literally have a gray lever action shotgun and a gas can. Out goes the gas cans. Can this play happen? A huge explosion, bang all over the place, and down. But did Frey survive? Frey may have survived, but Crizzle went down in that battle and played well. They're about to be ignited into the flames on this rotation here as we have a battle out here on the Gorgeous Gorge.
Frey was the one to construct this play, but then gets deconstructed completely, dropping down the low, and now a 9-way fight. One trio down, one man in the river. It's going to be so difficult for Arion, Ray, and Frey to reallocate. There we go. They lose that power position up top, have to go all the way down low. This might be really bad for their surge overall as well. The storm is moving. Them falling low early could actually prove beneficial. It definitely wasn't planned.
I looked at the feed and the deal down, confirmed out. That's really big as well. That's my pick. Look, I don't want to mean to put a caster's curse or anything like that, but Vidil has literally been one of the top players in the EU region. If you haven't been keeping up with the EU side of things, Vidil has no doubt up in those kind of rankings, and combined with Noah Riley Reason and reset itself, one of the best fighters, 3 trios in the world, and for them to go down, go early, hey, that's going to be looking that we're going to look at for like 16th place coming into this round 4, coming on round 3. They only got 2 victory royales, but I'm just quite surprised that Vidil went down so early, style.
I mean, for them, it's always kind of fast food. They're going in and out. They're straight up just trying to get some type of play done very aggressively. It works or it doesn't. They move on to the next game. Right now, though, it's kind of a thick sandwich overall up inside this kind of this gorge here. We have Venom, Prizzy, and Stursix on the top of the Playwell trio, and Alex in between, and we know already Frey's on low. Tukes is there as well, rotating up with that sand little bubble, but at the same time, this is just a very messy rotation in general. To be this congested this early, kind of unprecedented from this rotation pathway. At the same time, you'll have to make the perfect play, get into a good position if you want to keep your game on track.
I kind of like that. As you see Vettel and Krizzy and Stursix making this rotation through the Kids Cantina is, yeah, I think you nailed it right on the head. Usually they funnel out respectively, they kind of white line it, or they usually do a nice little rotate through the dead side, but they're literally white lining in this weird trajectory. And look at the congestion that we're talking about. You talk about the butter barn, everybody literally is coming on down to the butter barn, baby. It's talking about low prices on thick butter, as you see Stursix, Vettel, and Kizji using their nice sand tunneling to avoid that thickness and get away from that, as you have a nice look at Browner, Yaxo Rabbit. It's just so interesting. These are the type of players, though, Shio, that you're going to be seeing all the time in their rotate, and they know that, and that's why they're going to put Browner here is putting some extreme pressure on Frey, and now they're going to try to get inside of this fortified base as much as possible, but they have to wrap this up quickly, considering that there is a lot of trios who may have eyes and send down beams into this box fight.
At the same time, if they do end up winning the box fight, lots of resources for them to use. Raze, low HP, just recently picked back up. The storm now blazing over their eyes. All they see is blue, but at the same time, feel the red rage of getting pushed inside this fight. Now there's 4 different trios inside that storm. Just segmented. Everyone now falling into the sand. You have to delay a bit before you can move fast.
And this game is stacked. It's game 1.
But with their actions, their push on that pick, they have split 4 different trios apart.
Oh my, that is just going to get messier and messier as it goes forward. Everyone's going to keep trying to get into safe zone, but every moment they have to breathe, it's not going to be there. As you see teams like Kubix, Arthur, and Advice pushing right into the box with the spray down and getting some nice knocks. Down goes Slove. It's barely up there. His trio mate did go down there, but the pressure is real. It is literally the extreme box dive right here. W key forward strat, and that's going to be able to be converted into not only Siphon and Mats, but 2 points on the board. Already, this trio has racked up 5 elims, 10 points. We're not even close to placements being doled out here, Shio, but the action is still picking up here all around the Storm Edge.
And literally, it's not stopping. It's the same trio side by side. Looking for an update on Miro and Snap. They're here now as well. Literally, everyone is here in this big brawl, and it's still dropping down fast. At the same time, Miro going down to Browner. These guys were in such a good position just moments ago, and after that, get pushed. Nothing for them to do there. The play well trio as well. Back against the wall. Frey survived. Low HP, though. This is game number 1, and it is messy for Miro.
Man, we're talking about, I don't know what's the equivalent of the EU side of things for a messy meal. I know in Canada they got poutine. I know here in the States we got sloppy joes. But oh my goodness, this is going to be a very banger and mash type situation. It's all messy all over the place. And this is the battles that we have in the EU. It's Battle here as a solo, trying to hold on as much as possible. Only getting 2 points here for the trio. With Story 6 picking that 1 Elin, but man, this is all coming down to Salty Towers. Look at it. 4th zone already revealed, dead center Salty Towers. Are we gonna take a flashback into the lore days of Tilted and Salty Springs? Oh my goodness, this is insane.
It's like Salty Towers kind of like engulf the whole map with all these fights we're seeing, just 50-50 every single time. Looks like though from this side of the place, the Oxo is the one still on top, has position, they might have 2 more elims.
And so it's so interesting to see Savage, you know, they rotated out of here. They left so early and pushed all the way to Stealthy Stronghold. If they would have held on tight, granted, Storm Surge tags would have been a big factor. That's why maybe they pushed up there, but they let go of some really strong positioning, because we all know when it gets into that situation, as you see a big fight go down Meadow, the solo ride is over, Shai.
And see, this is what I was about to mention. Even if they left early, coming back, it's still their hometown. They're still paying rent. They have the bills all the way up top. I was going to say they would have a position on the north side of zone, but they kind of gave that away to have a higher ground position in general over the entire POI. North is still kind of the dead side, but these guys not only have control of Salty Towers, they've had the most control on the map inside the early game, being in the POI, dominating everyone up north. They did not let anyone come through right now.
Who's that saying?
Best options for rotation as well. To go back up, you see that zone pull towards the north, the top right as well. We'll see exactly how iDrop Taste and Savage handle it. Many trios on the right side under Storm Surge. That's where you're going to see a lot of aggression happen. These guys choose to go left after seeing the lightning, but at the same time have such a free rotation where they can refarm mats. If there is a trio right now that is in a good position from this rotation, it is Savage, but they have a big challenge ahead, Sandro. You can see there is a trio on height in a full metal base.
Dude, and it looks so scary. It looks like a trapezoid metal base. Look at it. It's Awakening Deceptos at the very bottom of that structure here, but you're seeing the rotations come out, and now you're seeing when it comes down to the magic, the beauty, the purity of Fortnite. It is this first rotating circle here in the half in and half out. It's about to happen very soon. Zone 6, 7, 8, 9 are going to be full rotation into the storm. Of course, 9 is going to be the ultimate close. But right now, Taston's going to be closed and knocked down to all fours here for a moment here. Is now Savage and iDrop. You thought it was free for a minute, Shio, but no, not so fast. The rest of the lobby finally shows up, and now Savage is going to have to go solo as well. These are the moments here as a solo star. You have to hold on tight as much as possible and not get converted into elims. But looks like Savage has decided, ooh, he tried. He knew his time was up, the number was called, but they walk away with 8 points in this first match.
A scam order on the rotation marked as free, but they ended up paying a monthly fee. This will just be game number 1 that they lose out on, but I feel like, yes, Sancho, of the points they have, the pedestal they've made, another chance once again of the control they'll have early game to push forward. At the same time, do you have your sandals next to you or anything?
Yes. I got my sunscreen on, baby. Okay. I got my sandals. I'm ready to go.
I'll tell you why, because although Pen, Janice, and Chapix on height are looking really good, we saw this happen in round 3. Every time Sand is in play, these guys are inside those bubbles. They're moving in these dunes left and right and getting Sand inside their toes 24/7.
This game's stacked though. Holy. There are 40 people. There should be another Storm Surge, right? I wonder why it's not coming in, because there are more than 50 players, more than 30 players in that zone.
And where has this trio been? They came out of nowhere right now. Zip, Lyson, and that co are having at least 5 E-limbs. Of course, Lyson coming from
This
the
guy
console track in the EUC now making an appearance here.
again, the back's taking way too much damage, bro.
Is up as well. Look at that.
Bro, my guy is fast, bro.
He got in, and he's probably the only one left. Moraine, as you see here, trailing the backside. This is the place where you don't want to be, folks. Everyone's trying to get to the front side. That is where you're going to want to be as much as possible, considering those front side players are going to turn and burn. Now you see all the layers are formatting here. You see a nice mid-ground tarp happening, but we know that Hen and his trio of Chapix are sitting at height right now, looking pretty, but this is also a dangerous trio. That's the first time we get to see on the broadcast trial of Kinzel, Wakey, and Deceptos.
And they barely even woken up, not even used any shields. The ammo count also looking very good. Obviously got some tags, but keeping up with Elam as well. Getting to this point. Blaster though taking out Falconly all the way on low. The fight continues. Snap outside the back also gets dropped down fast. And now Kinzel, Wakey, and Deceptos, you mentioned it, Sancho, have such a good position. Floors as well, right below them for full metal, so they don't have to actually burn that cone just fast. And as the zone moves, they take a huge dip to go through, but in the air for just 2 seconds, Kinzel gets absolutely beamed from what seems like high ground.
You gotta be careful when you use the bouncers. Janice, Chapix, and Hen are applying the pressure here. They are going to cash in as much as possible here. You already saw a lot of trios getting a lot of E-limbs in the mid-ground, but it's right now it's up to Hen, Chapix, and Janice to get as much E-limbs
24 people are in here in the game. The truth just gone out. That's good.
And another one on Void. Now Yanis is pretty much just getting all these free dinks, and this opportunity to cash in is real. Look at it. Janice again getting some nice tags here. The high ground is king, and the high ground.
These guys are taking full advantage of the high ground, bro. High ground is so good in comp, bro.
Janice, Chapix, and Hen, a game of control and punishment on high ground for everyone else's survival in the barren kind of glow ground of the desert. Nothing to drink, nothing to eat whatsoever. At the same time, nothing to save yourself from the
Bro, that dude's lit beyond life, bro.
just staying above second height, just very smart at the same time, letting them breathe a little bit and then just firing down on one box so fast. Red Rush can't survive. Everyone now getting pushed down to low. That's where Cubic Raxo are trying to hold their turf.
They're nearing top 10, bro.
Down there too, no Kinzel to help them out. A duel situation. It might just be one trio left alive now, Sancho. 5 different teams, 12 different players.
10 people are left. 10 people are nearly left. Points are about to start racking in right now. I think they're in top 4 right now for the trios now. 4 trios are left. Bro, it looks like Janice is gonna win, honestly. Like the zone's going a bit uphill, which means they have to keep on coring all the time. And there's no way to like sun tunnel above this, so there you go. GG's to Wave Junior. That's 30 points, 56 points in total for them.
Very sick game, and wow, what a great start to the FNCS season here. Woo! Man, I'm gonna need a breather here. Shiloh, you're gonna need a breather. I know we had sandals on. I know we were vibing out here, but let's go ahead and kick it to the analyst desk to break it all down.
Let's go.
My goodness, the hype was there. I don't know what those guys are on, but they're just on something else right now. They're on a different level here for Valentine's Day. Man, what a crazy game. Your FNCS Invitational Champion, Giannis, is there. I'm trying to wrap my head around how these guys just took control of this game so early on, and then they just never let it go. You kind of think about all these other trios on these other layers, and these other tarps trying to be like, oh yeah, we've got it. No, we're gonna make everyone else play our game. And Giannis is just like, yeah, you think so? Reese, did you think so?
I thought so. I mean, like, at this point, this trio, I already knew going in would be very, very strong because Hen and Chapix have really performed already this season in pretty much every mode. Solos, duos, and in trios. So far they're playing very, very strong. And obviously adding Janice, that ex-FNCS Invitational solo champion, to the trio was just a recipe for success. They were going to be so good. And they played the meta perfectly. They knew that if they needed to get height and win the game, they needed to be height early to get in that earlier 4th and 5th zones. And then when zones start moving, they just keep going with it, spray down because they're already stacked on that. points, ammo, and loot. And there you go, Victory Royale.
Yeah, I think you just see textbook stuff from them, right? Exactly how you expect a top-level team of their caliber to play high ground, right? You see them up there, they're constantly, trying to find angles in the team's second height, trying to squeeze that lobby down, right? When you're a high ground team, you want to sort of close that gap between you and low ground as much as possible, right? The smaller that gap is, the more uncomfortable everyone is in the lobby, and they do a great job of just applying so much pressure. So many teams are looking to try and take height this season, right? But the teams like Janus and Chapix and Henry who take it and actually just dominate from it, win games from it, are the ones you're going to see rising up those leaderboards.
Yeah, and what's interesting actually is the fact that as soon as the team's on second height, they just pressure over and over, focus, and they have so much ammo based on their kind of looting paths already that they don't need to worry. They just pressure them. That team says, you know what, I'm not going for it, and I'm away.
Hey, look, I'm curious to see if this trend continues, right? Like, this is just the first week. Don't forget we have 2 more weeks of open rounds. But if they continue to do this, if they just continue to steal away these games so early on, a lot of these other trios that are trying to break into top 10, they could really have a difficult time. Now, speaking of your top 10, let's take a look at the standings. I want to see how things kind of shook out after that first game. Like, obviously, we saw the Victory Royale come out. We saw them have a ton of eliminations.
So Janus took first place.
As a
They dropped
trio,
a 20 bomb.
okay? So they have an
Holy.
extremely strongly 56 points. This is where you want to start. This is how you want to start your first
I
game in
think
the open
Benji
rounds.
Fishy, Mongrel, and Metro already qualified, I think.
That is actually an incredible performance.
So a chat
Them
saying,
picking up that
unless
big
it's completely
Victory Royale.
empty.
And really, with 13 eliminations overall, getting to 56 points in that first game is crazy. And if they are able to consistently keep this up throughout the remaining of the games, getting that high early game, we're going to see, like we saw in some of the other regions, multiple Victory Royales taking that first place slot. Like, some other good teams coming up into that top 5 as well, like Andless, Snazy, and X-Squeeze. My prediction as well, coming up in 4th, and some other OG names like Kinzel, Siptos, and Wakey as well.
I think we're underselling this, right? We've just seen a 26 Victory Royale. This is round 4 death and CS, this isn't an arena game, boys, what's really going on here? I think, look at what these guys have been able to do in this game. Reese is talking about how they can keep this up. This is absurd, this isn't the kind of thing we'd see or expect to see from an FNCS round 4, so this alone is just an amazing performance. Like you said, Reese, there's so many other top names in this top 5 so far. It's just that first game, right? So we want to hold our horses a bit. You don't want to get too excited, but definitely if these guys are coming out of Craggy Cliffs in form like this, picking up these Victory Royales, if they're able to consistently get height, right, uncontested, they're bound to walk away with things.
Yeah, very, very impressive from them. And, like we're seeing all these teams here, just for some clarification, onto that 6th or 10th place, the kids are currently in qualifying is Blaster, Nikov, and Alpha, currently with 18 elimination points. Remember, each elimination is worth 2 points. So there's actually 9 eliminations overall, and that's double points, so up to 18 points there. So really good performances from all of these teams so far in that first game, and we're going to have to make sure they're still consistent moving on with this, because they're in that slot right now. They need to keep it all the way moving on throughout the games.
Yeah, taking a look here from 11th to 15th, the likes of Downs, ETQ, Pablo Wingo, right? They have Holly Hedges uncontested. What we actually saw, I don't know if it was picked up on a broadcast, but what we actually saw from these guys is, rotating out Holly straight away, getting into Salty, trying to look for a position center zone. They pulled zone, right? Zone pulled around Salty, and it meant that they were able to get a bunch of storm surge tags from it. It didn't materialize into the best of end games from them, right? They'll definitely have some high expectations, but a decent start. If you're in this range, you're not panicking yet. There's probably some minor errors, minor details that went wrong in that first game, and so nothing major to be concerned about moving forward.
Yeah, and if we move on to our next page, actually something that I found very, very interesting that we saw a little glimpse of on the broadcast was our team in 17th with Miro, Swag, and Snap. Miro actually managed to get the Nighthawk pistol from his drop spot in Weeping Woods. He managed to get all of the gold bars from there, which I kind of alluded to earlier on, and the Storm Surge tags that he was getting with this were absolutely incredible. It's a kind of night vision gun, so while he was boxed up, he saw a car rotating and hit 5 shots on it in a row for Storm Surge, which was an incredible, really, really incredible to see how much damage they actually got from it.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting, right? Seeing some of the teams down there. The big concern that I'd have for some of the teams, right, who are maybe not so far up the leaderboards when it comes to the elimination points and whatnot. Clearly, some of these top teams are coming out fine, right? They want to pick up high LM games, right? We've just seen a 13 elimination Victory Royale, right? Teams like Marion, Jasper, Lanuf, they're top teams, but they're not historically known for going out and picking up the most eliminations. And so if you struggle to have a high placement game, you're you're going to be a bit worried, right? You're going to start thinking, hey, look, we don't get many eliminations. How can we ensure we're getting those extra placement points towards the end of the games?
Yeah, and if we move over into what we're looking at from that early game, we had Savage, Hydrop, and Tayson kind of being contested off spawn in Salty Towers here, and they made absolutely short work of the team that was there of Tripper's trio. And really interesting from them, they just completely dominated straight on. They had that loot advantage because they managed to get a larger amount of chests, taking the main building off drop here, and really they just completely collapsed in on Bad Sniper's team and managed to pick up this pretty easy start for them.
Yeah, these guys are in form, and speaking of people in form, take a look at Passive, Void, Aya Bafo, right? These guys were on a tear in round 3 yesterday, and ultimately the battle with Steamy has been an interesting one. Obviously, Scram and Drea Refsguard, one of the top teams coming into FNCS this season, but they just got made, quick work, right? And Dre, you see him going down there to Passive. These guys are in form. I actually want to talk about the teams who aren't contested, right? Reese, you have Verox, Mexi, Michael. Some of their biggest competition, Thomas and Ass and Flick, they're not competing in round 4. They couldn't make it this week, and so it's important these guys have a huge weekend, right? This is their chance to just sneak their way in, uncontested, free of any sort of off-spawn battle, and so they're gonna have a big day.
Speaking of big days, guys, today's a big day, and guess what? We're going right back into the action. The bus is already en route to the island, so we're throwing it back over to Shia Wager and I want to call him Shancho already. I've done this to myself. The guys, take it away.
Listen, man, you can combine the names all the ways you want. Shancho Wager, the Shio West. It's SW squared. You cool with that, Sancho?
Oh, I am vibing with that indeed, child.
Okay, let's hit it up. Okay, game number 2 of EU. Game number 1, honestly, for me, Sancho, was strange. I feel like
Give me with that
Desert
shot.
Sight, it was highly aggressive. Kind of weird to watch. I'm always used to that game 1 stacker, insane surge all the way around. But like there were so many aggressive pushes to every single box. It was like no one on the north side. Kinzel had like a free game to play basically. It was just not what you really get to see in EU.
And what was also strange as well is the rotations all kind of, it felt like they were white lining it, but they kind of weren't because they all converged on the same slice of the pie, as I always like to say when it comes to rotate. And that slice of the pie, it got messy and it got very, very chaotic. And that's all the chaos that happened just on the left side of the Colosseum as we see it off in the distance. But we already talked about
I went to Coral Castle and he's uncontested. Holy.
No shots exchanged.
He took a smart move, honestly.
Just a little bit here, but no kind of craziness that's happening here. You talked about Kinzel, Deceptos, Wakey. Let's take a look at them. All chilling, all vibing. A lot of calm happening all over here, and that little bit of box fighting here happening. We talked about Analyx, Snazzy, and Squeeze. They like to late rotate here out of this rotation at Caddy Corner. So when they rotated late, I don't think they expected so many people to be in their path.
No, honestly, and at the same time, they got to avoid a lot of it. They were a little bit earlier. We got to stay ahead of everything. I think like right now we're looking at like the North Pole and South Pole of the map kind of dominating and having the most options possible. So Analyx, Snazy, and Squeeze, it might not be the complete South, but on the bottom right side of the map, they have Caddy Corner completely to themselves. They're gonna have a big split. They can choose to have one player closer to a mountain like Squeeze and take shots. On the north side, we just saw Kinzel all the way over at Coral Castle, undisturbed. They get to push up Ebb and Flow with Sweaty Sands as well. So they have good control of their game too. Everyone in between.
Hi, Curdy Chicken, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. If you're enjoying the gameplay, though I'm not participating. This is qualifier 1. You're in game 2 right now anyway. Yeah. I'm gonna get some more. I'm coming back. Tell your friends to also come and watch the stream as well.
There's nothing like a Salty Towers. Now it's up to Savage again, who is down to 56 HP. Nice tag to kind of slow down the push here. But now it's going to dip into the Chug Splash inventory. No partner in sight. Tayson is just on the other side of this wall here. But Nikov, Blaster, and Alpha are putting the brakes, and down goes Savage right then and there with a good blast from the Nikov team. And now Tayson again, as a solo star, have to survive as much as possible. But it could just be a matter of moments as the squeeze is too strong. And Tayson's trio gets converted and gets wiped and gets sent back to the lobby. And that's going to be a lot of time waiting for match 3 for them. But I don't understand what is going on in Salty Towers. I understand it's a center of the map, Shy. I understand it's a great place for Storm Surge, but there's only 2 Slurp trucks there. There is no Legend Nick Mercs fighting there. There's no reason to be there for so many trios.
Only 2 surges. It's a big deal to have those 2 surges.
I know.
A lot of inventory space you don't have to
I
use.
get it.
But it's this one word, right? It's control. It's
Yes.
the option to go north, south, east, or west whenever you want. The option to navigate the zone whichever way you
Okay.
want as well. Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, to go back to previous season, it's not like a power POI of Doom's Domain or Stark Industry. And no one's saying that, you know, maybe
Is
Salty
there,
Towers could. Oh, hit me with it.
You know what I mean? Like, is there a complete superpower POI right now? Not
No.
totally, really. There's good
Well,
POIs and strong
yes.
POIs for
I
certain
agree.
playstyles, right?
Yes,
Like, that's
Dirty
the big
Dogs.
thing. So,
Crazy
if you want to
Cliffs.
play 100%, but at Craggy and Dirty, you can't really rotate towards the center of the map as fast.
Right.
You can't really push into every single direction you want to, right?
Yeah,
Southwest
it's right.
side, you have to do a Dirty Dog rotate. That's troublesome. That's difficult,
Right.
right? But if you're in Salty Towers, you have the option to push there, push back a little bit. The big thing this game, though, right? This is a huge game of change. Last time we saw Savage win, they pushed north, affected Snag. Snag already went down before the game even started, and Savage is not in it anymore at all either. So the people who controlled last game's zone are not here to control it again. We'll have new leaders in the form of Blaster and Nikov. And by watching them for multiple seasons, Sancho, you know they're a more passive trio overall. They don't really get to have the same type of control as Savage and iDrop would. They don't like to have that tight swing early, more so stay mid and
6
low.
points, it seems.
Very, very
Roll.
different game. I think people are already learning from their mistakes as well. Hero Snap and Swag rotating early into the center. Yasuo not rotating as quick as before.
When we're talking about that change here in match 2, we have 6 games total to work with. And again, just a reminder for everybody out there, it is 10 spots that are open right now for the semifinals. And hey, at the same time, even though you're on the outside looking in on that top 10, you still could accrue points to get you into the semifinals, to get you invited. And that's what's happening here. This is the basically round 4 of the qualifiers that's happening. We have so much action here for the FNCS. And also later on today, we're going to go for the NA, oh man, NA East and NA West is coming up later on today. It's going to be an exciting action all around. If you're a big fan of Fortnite competitive, keep it locked into all the respective channels where you're watching, and especially knocking into that FN competitive Twitter, because you may catch some awesome highlights and maybe some tips for your trio out there, considering you might want to compete. Lots of time to get yourself in, child. Lots of time.
Lots and lots for these guys as well in the early game to make some decisions. That zone pulling slightly towards the south side. Always troublesome to see this zone in play. You end up with mountains, rivers, valleys. It's difficult. At the same time, a huge mountain to climb for, I guess, the region now. Past game 1, Hen, Janus, and Chapix. 56 points. That is a huge lead on the 37 that Red Rush, Dio, and Exterios have. Looks like they're winning over at Slurpy Swamp as well. They're hard contested in that POI, but looks like, you know, game 1 went in their favor. Question is, how is game 2 looking overall for everyone inside the region? Hellfire, Kuzia, Boyer also moving around. Boyer, that last game, ended up having to clutch the game out for himself. Looks like everyone's being a little bit more closer to the chest, not as experimental.
This guy should have beezed up in the middle.
It looks like the butterflies all went away, and now it's just all back into understanding what you gotta do. This is game 2 of game 6. Boyer understood what he had to
And
do.
Hellfire should have built out of brick, honestly. The contesting going on here, bro. Those guys landed Weather Station, Kati Corner. It's like almost so much griefing.
That they like to leave late, and they're here. And look at this. This is something about this wedge here. So much congestion that's happening early on. And you mentioned where the storm is, the safe zone. It is so far up north for this trios. It's going to be another messy rotate here. And it's so interesting. Last season, just to kind of bring it into scope here, the last FNCS, there were so many crazy rotations come out of Weeping Woods. You had all the teams coming out of Slurpee, Alpinza, Weeping, a little bit the Logjam area, even all the way to Rainbow Rentals, if you want to bring up that area, and as well, that little pipeline area. Like, so many trios like to land in Slurpee Swamps, but here in the EU side of things, all that's free. And can that be? I have to bring up Levin 2K, added to the team, great addition for the EU region. He was streaming himself, and he said that a lot of teams are staying away from the West Coast side of things because they do not want to deal with the Deals trio, understanding they like the W key. But could that be the reason why there's so much congestion here on the east side of things, Shai?
I just feel like the power from POIs, the way you can play the game, is a lot more free and fluid from the east side.
Yeah.
Rotating through Weeping, having to deal with going through Salty Towers instead of having the option to go around it. You don't really have that from the west. On the west side as well, you have to kind of go into full 50-50s. You're looking at it, I mentioned it before, Deals trio versus Snap.
I think I might just end up being here the whole night, guys.
The outskirts, you have to control the POI. If you're letting dirty and things are going bad, you could go to the Cammy split. You could go to the Gorge, right? You can do many different things, but on the west side of the map, there's just not as many options. So you see people kind of straying away. Because, yeah, there's some power trios like Vidil there. You do not want to mess with Vidil.
No, you do not want to mess with the deal. And this is what there's so many rotations now because of that are being pushed to the west side of things. And now you're just seeing the congestion. You're seeing the traffic jam that's being caused, the ripple effects of a strong trio out there. And now we're seeing Andretta, Mexi, and Michael here with a great setup here for Storm Surge tags if they want to find any.
Yeah, Andretta's put himself in a nice position. Very nice natural height, and the other thing is he can't get shot down. Or he's below,
These are powerful tags as well. This is Steamy Stacks and Dirty Docks kind of on top and top of each other. So anyone that's kind of around is, first of all, getting beaten by people who are used to being in this position, and at the same time are in a lot of trouble because there's not too many mats to refarm over and over in this kind of valley.
Bro, you're 8 below, bro.
The position you take, a little bit of an airdrop coming through as well for a team to pick up. And Dreda is down on Surge as well, so at some point we'll need a few tags. I'm not too worried about it either. Survival shots for Scram to hit. Not actually hitting in just yet. See what happens though, a little bit of time.
A little bit of time here. As you're seeing, Scram's trio wins about 82% of the fights they take. That's Steamy. But now they're just a little bit outside, and these are critical. Nice tag right there. It's just enough. Gonna get a little bit closer on that threshold. Now they're 9 below. This threshold is so important here for Storm Surge because this is what they want to keep here. They want this position as much as possible. Storm Surge will push them out, and they will have no choice to take a fight. That percentage is great for that POI drop spot, but when Storm Surge is on your backside, beaming down that 25 HP, and you have to dive into that flopper currency, the percentages change. Now Luna, Jaspe Marine, it changes so much. Now we're seeing the pick coming down. I think this is Levitt's pick right now. Jaspe Marine and Lunep. Lunep old school coming from the World Cup scene.
That's all of 0 eliminations. Imagine walking around with your elimination.
Jaspe, we kind of talked about this a little bit in our...
It was a congestion. They're literally...
had a very bad drop in the FCS previous trios in Stark Industries. Now they have an opportunity to see what they can do with the uncontested drop, but they just barely get in it as Jaspe does pay the toll in some HP.
Yeah, these guys are kind of free birds now this season. Last time they were contained by Starks. Now it's like they're also, you know, in Hunter's Haven, kind of surrounded by POIs, but get to choose how to play their early game. Put back in cages, though, off those beams, and now everyone else seems like they're also trapped in a pet shop. So many people just staring in, poking at the glass, waking Zippos and Kinzo. We're the first to see what pet they want to take home, what Elam points they want to add to their arsenal. It might be ETQ.
Some dude's taking massive Storm Surge damage, bro. Holy.
This is looking really good for the Zippos, Kinzo, and Wakey.
Some dude's taking massive Storm Surge.
A lot of the trios here, I took a peek, are just below here, and Wakey, Kenzel, Deceptos are now be able to go over 300 now. Storm Surge is turned off here as it hits the 70. The next time we're going to see is going to be closer around 50 people come up, and then the 30, and that's the one that's scary the most. We did see it pop up in the previous match here in those rotating zones, but that's why you're seeing these box fighting that's happening here on outer edges. You're seeing people who are desperate. You saw Pablo, who was taking so many hits, and Pablo's team's landing all the way to Holly Hedges. So that max pool essentially sent them all the way across the track, and they were unable to get any valuable storm tags and put them in that bad situation right there, that positioning right there. And as you see, and talk about another bad situation, Scram and Dreda losing Revscard. So no doubt they had to leave that blue antenna. It could have been that situation where they had to go get Storm Surge tags, and they paid the price in losing their teammate.
It's really different every game, every decision you make for the Surge as well. Yeah, Revscard will be down, but at the same time, Card might be underway in tow as well. Not many POIs inside here, so it might just be a two-man operation for Scram and Dreda. Them having the sniper though, gold and charge as well to use. I don't think their game is completely over yet, Sancho. 4 points still.
No.
I think a pick will come through here, but
Not quite
everything has
yet.
happened in mid-game for them. I think for these trios too, an RPG finds its way through the builds, stuck between a rocket and a mountain as well. What a hard situation for Lanouf, Jaspe, Marine. Get through. It's not even possible for Lanouf. Oh my goodness.
You were saying free bird, brother. It looks like the music has been stopped right then and there. Lunef now, Moraine goes down. It's going to be a matter of moments before that trio gets wrapped up. This is all going to be up to Jaspe. Now going to have to dip into that big pot for a second here. Just get that 50 shield just for a moment.
Guys, I'm just gonna end the stream here. I'm gonna be back with the NA West, I think.
Go ahead and
Yeah.
just